Very good morning, dear teacher friends.
Very good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Very good morning, sir.
Yes, very good morning to all of you. And
Good
yesterday,
morning, sir.
good morning. Yesterday we discussed about the elementary aspects of the concept of the disaster and disaster management. However, today, both in today's session as well as on 15th, I will be dealing with the health hazards related to the disasters and its management. Okay. So today I will cover the 50% of the topic, and another 50% probably I will be continuing on 15th. Okay. Now. Okay. Okay. So. Okay, now slides are moving. Okay. 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 Okay, thank you. So, so today, as I was telling, okay, please, thank you. Okay, now we know that the disaster may cause the damage to the property, damage to the human beings and all these things. And also we knew that there are two types of what we can say the disasters, that is the natural disasters and the man-made disasters, isn't it? So natural disasters or man-made disasters, both of them may cause the health, may affect the health of the individuals. It is not only the health of the human beings, it is even the health of the plants and even the microbes. So very briefly, now we shall discuss what exactly this disaster and health aspects. Now, first of all, I would like to discuss with respect to the man-made disasters and its impact on the human health. So when I say the word man-made disasters, we know that it is anthropogenic activities. It is the anthropogenic activities that is responsible for the cause of affecting various health hazards. Okay. So you are hearing me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, man-made disasters are primarily, very primarily, the anthropogenic activities that include the deforestation activity, pollution activity, the industrial activity. So, industrial activity, deforestation, and pollution of various kinds are going to be the prime cause for causing the health hazards. Now, these man-made disasters may lead to various types of health hazards among all the living entities. The chief and the primary causal factor is pollution. Then what is pollution? So pollution is nothing but an undesirable change in the physical, chemical, and biological characteristics. So though here, whatever the terms that I am using appears to be scientific, I will try to explain the meaning of all these terms, one thing. And second thing, and I will try to convey the concept of these health hazards, because there are certain technical terms that we come across related to the health problems. So I will explain you in a simplistic manner to the best of my ability so that you should understand this concept. Now, pollution, I told you, is an undesirable change. Nobody likes air pollution, nobody likes water, soil, or any such sort of pollution. So that is why we use the word undesirable, an undesirable change. Why such an undesirable change in our environment is going to be resulted? It is because of our activity. That is, through our activities, we introduce certain substances. Or we introduce certain matter, or we introduce certain compounds. So anything that we are going to introduce in our environment, in the environment of air, environment of our water, or environment of soil. So wherever you are going to introduce these things, they react with the components of that particular environment, or they may prevail, or they may exist in that particular environment, and as a result of which that particular environment gets contaminated. So, in other words, those substances which are going to contaminate the given environment, they are generally referred to as pollutants. Now, thus, the introduction of these contaminants or substances or pollutants will bring about a change in what? In the external appearance, say the physical appearance of an environment. Say, suppose a water body, in a water body, you are going to introduce certain substances. The color of the water body may be changed. So, if dust is going to be dumped into it, turbidity may be resulted. So, the physical appearance, it may not be a clear water. So, that is the physical appearance. So, that is a physical change. So, a turbid water is not for your liking. Similarly, a change in the chemical aspects. So, chemical aspects means, suppose the water is too salty or too acidic, you cannot drink that water. Or if the atmosphere is having lot of what we can say irritating vapors in and around you, so you may not like it. So, any such change that occurs in our environment because of introduction of certain substances as a result of certain chemical reactions, so that is also called what? An undesirable change. A filthy smell that is going to be given out. For example, when water body is getting polluted highly and you are going to see the emanation of dirty smell and other things or filthy smell. So it may be due to certain chemical reactions that are taking place in the water body. Okay. So that is also an undesirable change. And suppose you look at some way, say water body which is polluted, it may appear greenish in color or black in color. So this greenish color or black coloration or various coloration of the water body is due to the presence of certain algal members, and these algal members means these are the small microscopic plants that are grown in a polluted water body. So when they grow in a polluted water body, they react with its environment, and you do not use that type of water body which is having a green scum or a black scum or a black colored water body or a green colored water body, because it contains lot of algae. So in Kannada we call it as pachi. So likewise, it is due to the introduction of certain or growth of certain the living entities. That is, the biological characters of the water may get altered. So any such undesirable change that is going to be resulted in our environment of land, air, and water, okay, causing an undesirable change, we call it as pollution. So we call it as pollution. So pollution is defined as an undesirable change in the physical, chemical, and biological characteristics of air, land, and water. Now, this pollution is going to be resulted because of the introduction of certain substances or contaminants in our environment. So, when these things are going to be introduced, it causes an unstable condition to the human beings or to the ecosystems or to the animals. So, it is called instability or a disorder, or it may cause discomfort in the functioning of an ecosystem. So, pollution results in such a discomfort or an undesirable change or an unstable condition of the living entities. That is what is the causes of, the impact of pollution. Now, pollution is of various kinds. It is air pollution, or it may be water pollution, or soil pollution, or waste production. Whenever any disaster that takes place, natural or anthropogenic, so all these sources, air sources, water resources, soil resources, so all these natural resources are greatly affected. So similarly, man-made activities are going to be resulting in an untold an unaccountable quantum of, say, pollution. So it may be air pollution or water pollution, soil pollution, and even the generation of the waste and dumping of the waste in our environment will also lead to pollution. Now we shall just examine each aspects of these things. So whenever air pollution is going to be taking place. Now anthropogenic activities is what? The burning of petrol or fuel. So we know that petrol or fuel or diesel, so all these things are obtained from our nature. They are very natural resources. So when you burn these things, they are converted into certain products. When you burn these things, diesel or petrol, it is converted into some products like smoke and or ash, isn't it? So it is a chemical reaction. Now these ashes or smoke is released into the environment. Similarly, through industrial activities, you are going to see the smoke is going to be given out, and that smoke that is given out through the industrial activities will be spreading in the atmosphere. It contains particulate matter. It contains particulate matter. That is the matter which are very tiny, microscopic in the sense which we cannot see even with our naked eyes. So such invisible sized particles are also going to be spreading in the atmosphere, and through natural process like that, natural disasters like volcanic activities also lead to sometimes the release of these substances, smoke like, right, particulate matters. So thus both through what we can say the man-made activities and the natural process, we can see these contaminants are being released into the environment, thus change the structure, composition, and characteristics of the air. So that introduction of these substances during these processes, or these are the sources through which our air is getting polluted. Now, through various activities, as I was telling you, through waste generation, through household activities during cooking and other things, and all these agricultural practices that we are all doing, so it may cause pollution. The same activities are going to be taking place in every part of the sphere. But when a disaster takes place, isn't it? When a disaster takes place, you cannot expect that people should starve for their food. So people want food, people want clean water, people want clean air, but it may not be easily possible immediately to have a control of all these things. So there should be some strategies to mitigate all these effects. So now, air pollution, for example, that is going to be taking place both with disasters as well as through man-made activities have resulting about more than 6 million children are dying every year, even before their 5th birthday. That is what is according to a World Health Organization report. So there are many diseases which can be prevented, that is going to spreading through the air, that spreads through the air due to contaminants. For example, tuberculosis and diseases like measles, etc. Wherein because of these things, 16,000 children die each day from such type of diseases. So in other words, many such diseases, even diseases like the respiratory diseases or chronic, say diabetes or cancer or cardiovascular diseases. So all these are all non-communicable diseases, but in spite of that, because of air pollution, it is affecting the people and people are dying. So in every second, it has been found that the people who are aging between 30 and 70 years are dying. So this is according to the WHO report. And why this air pollution during such disastrous activities is going to cause the health hazards. And 7 million people die every year because of exposure to fine particles in polluted air. Particulate matters that are being released into the air is resulting in the death of over 7 million people. And at least 400 million people have no access to the basic health care. and 40% lack social protection. Now, what are the factors then that they are affecting the human health? So, the factors of the pollutants that are going to affect the human health are the nature of the pollutant. Nature means what type of pollutant are being released into the environment after disaster. So, whether this pollutant is just mere what? Different sized particulate matter, or whether this pollutant or particulate matter contains any chemicals in it, if it is a chemical pollutant, or whether it is due to the invasion of certain spores or presence of certain spores given out from the living entities of plants or animals. So, what is the nature of the pollutant? Whether is it a physical pollutant or chemical pollutant or a biological pollutant? So, that is the one which is going to influence the human health. So, factor is nothing but a part of the environment that is going to influence any living entity, any organism. So, organism is a term that is used to represent any living entity. So, factor is nothing but a part of the environment that influences or exercise control over the organisms. So, those factors include number one, nature of the pollutant, then to what concentration the health hazards are going to be resulted. So, how much is the dosage or the quantity of these pollutants that are going to be taken in or that are going to be tested on the external surface of the body. So, likewise, concentration of the pollutant is another factor which is going to affect the human health. Then, how long these pollutants are going to be present? For how long these pollutants are going to be what? Pollutant, present in our environment, and for how long you have been exposed, and for how long you have been exposed. So, that is also going to be determining the human health. And for how long you are going to be exposed, that is called the duration of exposure, duration, periodicity, for which an individual is going to be exposed. Then comes what is the nature of the individual, what is the health status of the individual who is going to be exposed for such type of pollutants. That is, the person who is going to be exposed is called a receptor. So you are the one who is going to receive these effects of pollutants. So you are the receptor. So what is your state of health? And what is the age group of this receptor? Whether you are a small child, or you are an adult, or you are grown up, or growing up, or you are an old aged person. So, what is the age group of the receptor? So, all these factors are going to affect the human health. And pollutants never leave any individual. It may be even affecting even when the fetus or the child is in the womb of a mother. So, even if the mother carrying a child, if at all she is exposed to various types of pollutants, it may affect even the developing child also, developing fetus also. So, likewise, pollutants are going to affect all age grouped individuals, and it doesn't discriminate between any the age and the sex or anything else as such. So, it is going to result in various diseases or health hazards like respiratory diseases may be resulted, stroke may be resulted, lung cancer may be resulted, diabetes may be resulted, so asthma may be resulted. So all these types of health hazards are going to be resulted. And sometimes even there may be the reproductive effects or birth defects whenever you are going to be exposed. And these air pollutants, which contain mainly the dust and smoke, they mainly contain dust and smoke. Now, smoke is given by whom? It is mainly given by the industries as well as by the movement of the vehicles, traffic, isn't it? So, vehicular movement and industrial activities normally give out the smoke. Now, these smoke may contain various chemicals. These smoke may contain various chemicals like sulfur dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, oxides of nitrogen. There are certain chemicals. So, when these chemicals are present in the smoke, and when this smoke reacts with water vapors present in the atmosphere. We know that in our atmosphere we are having water vapors. So when it reacts with the water vapors, the smoke, the water vapors present in that form of tiny particles in the atmosphere, we call it as fog. Isn't it? When a mass or a cloud of these water vapors are assembled, we call it as fog. So when this fog reacts with the smoke, it is going to form smog. So the combination of smoke and fog, smoke plus fog together forms smog. So this smog is once again will be dangerous. It is dangerous because the reaction between the various particulate matter containing the chemicals and the water may result in very harmful chemical vapors, and that smog is dangerous. Now, smog, the term, it is a combination of the two terms, smoke and fog, especially in the urban environment. We can see it is resulting due to air pollution, and the term is coined by a scientist, H.A.D. Walks. H.A.D. Walks is the scientist who coined this term, smog. Now, whenever smog is going to be resulted, it results in the visibility. It results in the lack of visibility. A clear visible nature cannot be seen whenever there is a smog. So that is why there are two types of smog that has been classified based on its effect. That is photochemical smog and industrial smog. Photochemical smog is the one, a smog that is going to be formed. That is, the smoke combines with the fog to form the smog, during which there will be a chemical reaction in presence of light. The term photo refers to light. A chemical reaction takes place during the reaction of the smoke and the fog, and that is why it is called photochemical smog. So it reduces the visibility. For example, this photochemical smog is very famous as Los Angeles smog also. Los Angeles, because in the city of Los Angeles in USA, a great amount of or greater incidence of the occurrence of this photochemical smog has been recorded. That is why it is also called photochemical smog. Another smog is due to the industrial smog, especially the smoke that is given out from the industries. It is going to react with the water vapors or the fog present in the atmosphere, and it is going to result in a thick cloudy appearance, and that smog is called it as industrial smog. This industrial smog is also referred to as London smog, because in the year 1942 and 52, so it was in 1942, it was prevailing for about 5 days, during which 4,000 people were dead when they are exposed to this industrial smog, or especially in London. That is why it is also called London smog. So photochemical smog, as I told you, it is also referred to as Los Angeles smog. And whenever this smog appears in our atmosphere, it appears to be brown in color, because it is formed by the chemical reaction of certain chemicals or compounds. And this takes place in presence of sunlight. That is why it is called photochemical smog. And this smog appears to be brown in color. So if you are going to be exposed to these things, it may affect your skin, it may affect your respiration, all these things will be there. So thus, such type of disasters can also be noticed due to pollution. Now, industrial smog. So in 1952, because we know that after 1887, so when industrial revolution has taken place, many industries have cropped up across the world, especially in England. And in England, due to the emanation of various smoke that is given out from the chimneys of these industries, and when these smoke reacted with the fog, it forms a smog, and that smog is nothing but industrial smog. It contains very dangerous constituents or substances like the carbon soot, asbestos, particulate matter, oil matter, that is oil particles, heavy metals, sulfur oxides, etc. So when people without their awareness started moving and exposing and inhaling these spores, so they died. So more than 4,000 people died in the year 1952. So that is why it is also referred to as the London smog or industrial smog. It was for the first time reported in 1952 and subsequently in 1962 also in the same area, that is in London, it claimed the life of about 700 people. So for the first time it was reported in Belgium in 1930, claiming about 63 individuals, and in Pennsylvania more than 20 people died. So thus, any such man-made activities which leads to pollution is also a disaster. So disaster, it means it involves damage to the property as well as to the life of the human beings or the health of the human beings. So thus these air pollutants have resulted in the health hazards. Now we know that in India, our power generation, we generate electricity or power by burning the coal. So that 85% or more than 90% of this power generation in India is by burning or by combustion of the coal. Whenever coal is going to be burned, so what is going to be released? Smoke is going to be released, and ash is going to be released. That ash we call it as fly ash because it is very lighter in weight. It is very lighter in weight, and it contains certain chemicals and gaseous components, and it is made up of certain chemicals like silicon oxide, calcium oxide, and even sometimes 80 metals. So it is as good as like any ash. When you burn a firewood, you will get ash. Similarly, when you burn this coal, you are going to see an ash, and this ash we call it as fly ash. It contains certain chemical substances. So when this fly ash, I am telling you, in India, more than 90 million tons of coal ash is going to be generated. That is, fly ash is going to be generated because you are going to burn about, as an average, 260 to 270 million tons of coal in 1 year for electricity or power generation. So for power generation, as much as 260 to 270 million tons of coal is burnt, and when you burn that much of coal, about 90 million tons of coal ash or fly ash is going to be resulted. And where do you dispose this fly ash? So in India, it is being indiscriminately disposed, either onto the land surface or into a nearby water body. You are going to dispose it. When you release it into a water body, it affects the aquatic life. It affects the drinking water quality, or it may also support the growth of certain microorganisms like bacteria, which may cause the health hazards. Suppose it is disposed on the land surface, so it is going to affect the soil quality and does not support the growth of the crop plants or the vegetation. Then you have to dispose it properly, bury it through landfilling or by any means, you have to dispose it. But if you want to dispose, how much of land is required every year? You require about 50,000 acres of the land surface. So every year only to dispose, if you want to use 50,000 acres of land, but our area, geographical area is very limited. It is just 327.8 million hectares of the land we are having geographically. Our geographical area is not increasing, but our demand for electricity and power is increasing. So this fly ash could have been managed in a better way, wherein it is used for manufacture of bricks and tar, etc. And this technology, though discovered by the Indian scientists, it is being practiced very well in Germany. More than 80% of fly ash has been recycled in Germany, while in India it is just below 5%. So though we are good at producing the management technology for the disposal of all these things, we are not good at practicing it in our own area. So this has resulted in the generation of these fly ash has resulted in more than 4,60,000 premature deaths due to those particulate matters every year. And additionally, it may also cause cough, asthma, pneumonia, tuberculosis, leprosy, like various diseases are going to be resulted because of this type of air pollutants. So thus, fly ash is not for betterment. And anthropogenic activities, I told you, so through industrial activities, you are going to release the smoke. And that smoke, if it contains sulfur dioxide, assume that it contains sulfur dioxide chemical substance, And this chemical sulfur dioxide reacts with the water vapor in the atmosphere, and especially during rainy season, if it reacts with the water droplets, it is going to be converted into an acidic rainwater. It is going to be converted into an acidic rainwater. That is called acid rain. So that will be also a disaster. So if you keep on increasing your industries and emanation of these pollutants, they may also result in acid rain. Sometimes, though you do not do it, others may do it and you may suffer it. So that possibility also will be there, because these air pollutants are never going to stay at a particular area. They keep on spreading and moving from one area to another area. That is how today, suppose you are going to burn and release certain substances in Mysore, it may spread or travel across the various air layers, and it may reach even Bangalore or other places. And by the time if that area is ready for precipitation or the season for rainfall, so these rainwater droplets may react with those substances and may result in what? Acid rain. So when you are exposed to such type of acid rain, you may inhale these acidic vapors and you feel difficulty in breathing. So thus, these things are also maybe resulted due to what? The acid rain. And whenever there are pollutants, right, and the atmosphere is getting polluted, the chances of increase of the various microbes or the disease causing organisms, pathogens. Pathogens means any disease causing organism, we call it as pathogens. So any such disease causing pathogens may get multiplied. They increase in their number, and when they increase in the number, the type of disease, the disease spreading also increases. So that is how it is going to be resulted. So there will be a chances of an increase in the incidence of what we can say the various types of the pathogenic organisms. Now, whenever the dust particles are going to be given out due to disasters, say earthquake, for example, has taken. So earthquakes or cyclones or tsunamis and high wind velocities like hurricanes, all those going to be resulted in any area. It generates lot of dust. So whenever you inhale these dust particulate matter, the immediate thing that is going to be affecting in you is the respiration, breathing problem. So you know that you are going to respire through your nose, isn't it? And when you respire through the nose, you are taking in these particulate matter, and it enters into this windpipe. Biologically, we call it as trachea, and this is branched. This windpipe is branched into bag-like structure on either side inside our body, which we call them as lungs. So inside these lungs, there are two branches that are given out from this windpipe. We call it as bronchi. Technically bronchi. And these are having sub-branches, many root-like, canal-like structures. We call it as bronchioles. So thus, whatever the air that you have taken inside, it will be entering through these things and entering through the lungs, and ultimately it enters at the tip of these branches. You will see bag-like, balloon-like structures. We call it as alveoli. So whatever the dust particle that you are taking inside, it enters into the body, enters into the windpipe, enters into the bronchi, bronchioles, and ultimately it may deposit it anywhere in the balloon-like structure. Looks like a bunch of grapes. It is called technically alveoli. So if these dust particulate matter get deposited in your respiratory tract, this entire system or tract, you call it as respiratory tract. So during respiration, whenever any region of this respiratory tract is deposited with the dust particulate matter, it results in breathing problem, and that breathing problem or respiratory problem is medically termed by a word pneumoconiosis. Pneumoconiosis is a term that is used to represent the respiratory problem due to the inhalation of the dust particles, isn't it? Wherein the individuals are being exposed to such type of dust particulate matters. Now, various dust pneumoconias. Once again, this pneumoconiosis is nothing but a respiratory problem. There are various types of this pneumoconiosis. For example, if you are exposed and taking inside these asbestos sheets, particulate matter, it is called asbestosis. So pneumoconiosis, if you are exposed to iron particulate matter, right, dust containing the iron, especially in the mining areas. So if mining areas, if at all there were to be any disaster, especially if it is going to result in iron mining areas, so it may result in the rusty appearance of the eyes, and the disease is referred to as siderosis. It is referred to as siderosis. So such things may be resulted. Suppose during the heavy traffic, we know that nowadays Delhi, Ghaziabad, etc. are being suffering from the air pollution. It is mainly because of the heavy traffic. So large number of traffic movement or a heavy vehicular movement results in giving out the oxides of nitrogen. Through their smoke, it will give out certain substances which we call it as oxides of nitrogen. So when you inhale these particulate matter, it enters into your what? Windpipe, enters into the what? These canal-like structures called bronchi, bronchiole, into the alveoli. And when they enter, so see, this is a sectional view. Here I am showing you through my cursor another photo. So it enters here like this. So the air has to easily pass through this canal. But here there is no deposition on the inner lining layer or wall layer of this tube-like structures in the windpipe or bronchi or bronchioles or any. But the same thing in another bronchi you can see here. So because of the deposition of these things, the inner wall layer has become swollen. When it is swollen or bulged, the passage for the flow of the air, is reduced. Okay. The passage for the flow of the air is reduced. So you feel difficulty in pushing the air because it has to enter through this passage and ultimately enter into the alveoli, and once again it has to come out and reach us and go back, and you are going to exhale. So thus during breathing, so inhalation and exhalation, when it is taking place, that is taking in and giving out. So when you are doing this phenomena, if in your respiratory tract, if the particulate matter of oxides of nitrogen or pollutants get deposited on these layers, so it becomes swollen. Here it is shown in the arrow mark. If it becomes swollen, the passage for the flow of the air is narrowed down. So you feel difficulty in breathing. So this type of pneumoconiosis is medically called bronchiolitis. N is missing here. BRONCHIOLITIS, bronchiolitis. Okay. So this is another type of health hazard. Now, the same bronchiolitis is very commonly seen among the people who are exposed to the dust particles even in the earthquake regions. Okay. Now, whenever that disasters have taken place, people are going to be displaced and migrating, moving here and there, both with the affected people as well as with the rescuers or the people who are involved in the management of the people, property, animals, and everything. So all these individuals start smoking in the area because they are working throughout day and night, including rescue operations when they are executing. So they keep on smoking. And in addition to the effects of already the disasters, you are also seeing one more hazard, that is the entire area is going to be polluted with the smoke of the cigarettes or BDs. So when you smoke, so these are going to result in a lung cancer. It may not be immediate. It is not immediate. See, any exposure of an individual, that is exposure of an individual to any of the pollutants, So the effects may not be immediate. It may prevail for a long period of time, and the time taken for the expression or causing any disaster may also take certain time. Likewise, it may result in tumors or cancers. So in their lungs, they may develop even tumors or cancer like this. It may be resulted because by smoking a single cigarette, you are releasing various cancer-inducing chemicals. So various cancer-inducing chemicals. Here I am showing you some of the cancer-inducing chemicals in this photo. So it releases various, what we can say, the compounds: acetic acid, methane, arsenic, carbon, ammonium, hexamine. So these are all various chemicals. It has been estimated that more than about 280 chemicals are supposed to be released during the cigarette smoking. So most of these are highly carcinogenic. That means they can cause cancer. So this will be another disaster among the among the people affected due to disasters. So that may be resulted. Now, another most commonly prevailing disease is asthma, which is medically called chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Chronic means it prevails for a long period of time. Obstructive means it is going to obstruct the flow of the air in the bronchi. Pulmonary means within the lungs. So, COPD disease. This is the second largest disease among the world population. Second largest disease among the world population. And in India, it is the third largest disease among the Indian population. So, which is very commonly referred to as asthma. Now, why it is going to be resulted? Exposed to the dust particulate matter, especially these particles of the dust containing sulfur dioxide, which are being mainly given out during the volcanic activities, sulfate aerosols we call. So during volcanoes, this is going to be liberated and may traverse to many other areas. And also during industrial activities, it is going to be released and it may reach the surrounding people and may affect. So when these things are going to enter into the windpipe, here I am showing you, this is a normal passage. But sometimes when these windpipe are going to be deposited on inside with these particulate matter of pollutants, see, look at the structure of the windpipe has been lost. It has become zigzag. It loses its shape. And internally, look at this, there is a clear passage, but here there is the inner wall layer has become swollen. The inner wall layer has become swollen here. So the passage becomes very narrow. So when you take the air inside, here it will easily flow. This is a normal airway. But here it has to pass through here and there will be obstruction for the further flow. You have to apply a lot of pressures to still breathe in. So it will go here. It may be traversing here, then it may come here. So at every stage there will be obstruction for the flow of the air. So that is why we call it as obstructive. And this obstructive phenomenon is taking place during breathing in the lungs. That is why we call it as pulmonary. And this is going to prevail for a long period of time. That is why we call it as chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So doctors, whenever any patient suffering from asthma are going to there, they will give some medical say sprays, they will give for an immediate relief. When you inhale that spray, so these things get subsided and it becomes normal like this. Then you can have a normal breathing. So after some period of time, once again, if you are exposed to such type of pollutants, once again it may be resulted. So such type of disasters can also be seen. Now, we are all aware of Bhopal gas tragedy, and it is an industrial disaster. These are all man-made disasters. Whatever that I am now discussing is mainly on man-made disasters. So, other aspects of natural disasters and some mitigation management practices in another lecture I will be dealing. But however, I am now just telling you about or highlighting about the man-made disasters and health hazards. See, due to industrial activity of these Bhopal gas tragedy has been resulted. So because of the negligence or mismanagement of the activity during in such industries on 3rd December, so about 42 tons of methyl isocyanate gas has been released. More than 5 lakh people were exposed to these toxic gases. And immediately you can see 10,000 people died within 72 hours. 10,000 people were dead within 72 hours. You just imagine what type of, disasters, right, may be made by man nowadays very frequently due to such activities. And in those areas, there are the people there, the people have been affected, more than 2 lakh people have been affected with permanent injuries, because these chemicals, whenever you expose, any part of your body may be affected. Any part of your body may be affected. So it may bring about eye problem, it may bring about respiratory problem, it may bring about your nervous system, right? Nerve system may be affected, that is neurological disasters. Your lung may be affected, your reproductive structures may be affected, and the birth defect may be resulted. So all these things are going to have, are going to take place if the individuals are exposed to such type of what? The pollutants due to the industrial activities. It is referred to as an industrial disaster, so to say. See, look at this Bhopal gas tragedy. When many people died, even they were finding difficulty to bury the dead bodies. And if you keep the dead bodies as it is for a long time on the surface itself, so it supports the growth of various disease-causing microbes, microorganisms. So that is going to be resulted. So till you are going to properly dispose them. So in Bhopal, actually, when people wanted to bury the dead bodies, if they dig, they used to get the skulls. They used to put so many bodies, skulls, etc. in gunny bags, and they used to dump it. So even the availability of the land for burial was very difficult in that time due to that disaster. Now, in other words, the pollutants due to air pollution may result in all these problems, all these possible types of what we can say the health hazards are going to be resulted. Now, even water is also not exempted. So during disasters, even water body also may get affected. So according to WHO, so even 2.6 billion people do not have adequate toilets or sewers or latrines in the normal course itself. When disasters take place and people start migrating from one place to another place, you imagine how much of problem will be there for all these basic, you can say, sanitation. So sanitary problems may prevail, isn't it? So now when such water body is going to be polluted, so it may cause various diseases. If nitrogenous substances are going to be released into the water body and if the people are going to drink or exposed to that one, so they develop a disease called methemoglobinemia. It is called blue baby syndrome. So cyanosis. So it may be resulted. Sometimes during nuclear war, man-made activities, nuclear wars or wars, whenever the mercuric compounds during war, you know that many explosives and others, they contain these mercuric compounds. So when these mercuric compounds are going to be released into the water body gets contaminated with mercury and it results in a disease called Minamata disease. So it results in the crippling deformity. That means it loses the shape, and once it loses the shape and becomes like this, it cannot be recovered. So far, there is no medical remedial measure to cure this disease. No medical remedial measure has been discovered so far, such type of diseases. So that is why nobody would like to have wars. Now, whenever the water body gets affected due to disasters like the flooding if at all takes place, or tsunamis or cyclones or any such natural disasters also whenever it takes place, including the human activities, when they discharge effluents from industries, domestic sewage and all these things. So there will be the growth of certain microorganisms. Now it is a protozoan, we say. It is an animal, a small invisible animal which is seen only with the help of microscope. So under microscope, it looks like this. It results when you drink water in the water droplets. So these organisms are present. It results in diarrhea or gastroenteritis. All these things are going to be resulted. Now, even the water contaminated with the various pollutants released from the war activities may result in various blood and blood related cancer. So all these things are going to be resulted. Now, another disaster that we can see, health hazards, is the waste, solid waste. We know that India generates a lot of solid waste, and these waste, we are going to dump it indiscriminately on our land or water or everywhere. Now, these areas, wherever we dispose without proper treating or proper dumping them or burying them, if at all we just indiscriminately throw them, now they act as a good ground for the growth of the microorganisms or pathogens which may cause disease. So, effect of the solid waste on the land surface, right, will support the growth of many pathogenic or disease causing organisms. And you know that normally when people go for picking up such waste, sometimes, especially these rag pickers or bag pickers, we have seen that they are going to be affected with skin diseases, respiratory diseases, and other things. And sometimes to have an easy or a clear environment, you are going to burn all these solid waste. When you burn all these solid waste, it releases certain chemicals, and these chemicals are called furans. So these furans, whenever it has been inhaled, it may affect the fertility in human beings. The production of gametes, male gametes, female gametes, and fertilization. So if you are exposed for such type of furans, so in future, if you get married, you may not bear the child. So that means the fertility is not, somebody is talking, please. Shall I stop here?
Yeah,
Please.
Dr. B.
Yes.
Suresh,
Yourself.
kindly mute yourself.
ಒಂದು ಈಗ 15 ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗೋದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿಯಿಂದ
Yeah, Dr. B. Suresh, kindly mute yourself.
ಅಲ್ಲಿನವರು ಒಂದು 17 ಜನ ಕಟ್ತಾರೆ ನಮಗೆ
So, hello.
Yes, sir. Please continue, sir.
Yes. Okay. So it is going to reduce the fertility in human beings. So thus, the pollutants due to man-made activities are going to affect almost every part of the organism. It never leaves any part of the body being what? Affected, without affecting. It may affect your lungs, it may affect your kidney, it may affect your nervous system. So it may affect any part. So thus, even our activities, deforestation activity, I was telling you, deforestation activity means we are cutting the forest, we are cutting the plants. So it will result in, so we know that plants are the best sources for absorption of various types of pollutants. They absorb the pollutant and purify the air. How they purify the air? During the activity of photosynthesis, food synthesis. During the activity of photosynthesis, the plants absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and prepare the food, and during that process, they release oxygen. Thus, they purify the air. Now, plants are the best means or methods through which we can control air pollution. So that is why trees are regarded as the best bio-air pollutants. So when absorbers, so they are the best pollutant absorbers, and that is why we should grow more trees. Suppose you cut the trees, what will happen? The amount of oxygen that has to be released will be reduced. Number one. Number two, carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere increases. When the carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere increases, it results in global warming, an increase in the temperature of the surface of the earth. Global warming is resulted. When global warming takes place, automatically it results in climate change. It results in climate change. So any increase in the temperature of the surface of the earth or global warming and the climate change results in the development and multiplication of many disease causing microorganisms. Many disease causing microorganisms are going to be multiplied. So these are going to cause various diseases. These are going to cause various diseases. So thus, global warming and climate change is also is a man-made disaster. We can say it is a man-made disaster due to which we are going to see nowadays the incidence of occurrence of the tuberculosis, for example. Tuberculosis is the second largest disease in Indian population. Second largest disease among the Indian population, and this is mainly due to the warming of the atmosphere or an environment that you are going to create for the multiplication of this bacteria which causes tuberculosis. So microorganism name is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. It is a bacteria which causes this tuberculosis. So likewise, sometimes the environment that you are going to create due to deforestation or global warming and climate change may result in the occurrence of many such pathogens or disease causing microorganisms which may cause various diseases. Now, after disaster, we know that when people start migrating from one area to another area or displacement is taking place, so for number of days, they may not get good food. So there may be malnutrition. They may not get good water. There may be diarrheal diseases. And once it is in en masse, the population is there in packs. Yeah, they are there. So once a disease occurs, it may keep on spreading. For example, if there are the vectors like mosquitoes which cause the malaria, so they may keep on multiplying because when the environment is not hygienic, so when there is sanitary problems, so such type of diseases keep on spreading. So what are the solutions to all these problems? So we are seeing many such man-made disasters and we are seeing many such health hazards. What are the solutions to all these things? So we shall continue in the next class about the other disaster health, natural disasters and the incidence of main health hazards in brief with respect to those, and put together how to have the management plan for reducing the health hazards. So that we shall discuss in the next class. So with this, I will stop here. If you have got any doubts, you can ask me and interact with me. I once again thank you all for your patient listening. But however, it is my sincere suggestion and a request that because whenever a technical topic is going to be discussed or going to be explained, so and also the technical terms may be there here and there, some people may not find it easy to understand and follow. And even for a teacher to speak in a plain language, we feel sometimes bit difficulty because amidst of these disturbances. So anything that is going to disturb a teacher, it irritates always. Even for you people, even in a classroom, if students make noises or disturbances, it will irritate you. Definitely will throw them out of your class. So, but now we can't do all these things. I can just simply mute it or I can go off myself. But however, my feeling is that whether you are interested in knowing little aspects or not of this, but it is my duty because I have been invited to share a few aspects related to this disaster and health I am explaining here. So kindly see that at least in the next class, please avoid such type of disturbances. Kindly see that at least in the next class, please avoid such type of disturbances.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, any legal aspects of the health disaster management? Legal aspects.
Legal aspects means what aspect you want legally?
health disaster management.
That in the next class, I will be touching upon that one. Okay.
Thank you, Ramesh sir. It has been such an honor to be the part of this meaningful session. I take
Yeah.
this opportunity to thank the resource persons of this session, Professor A.G. Deviprasad, for giving a well presentations, useful informations, and keen insights regarding disasters and health. On behalf of UGC-HRDC, I express my sincere gratitude to you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Thank you all.